Pickett's voice pitched against, Duane's dazzling, guitar there. I mean, that was such a striking departure for an R&B session band, for the whole sound. Had to inspire everybody. It certainly inspired Pickett, who used to call Duane Skyman, I think. Sky Dog.
Yeah.
Yes. I think that was one of the sessions that Duane had most enjoyed at the time I first met him, recording with Wilson Pickett. I think he thought it was a very great honor, and he's very proud of the work he'd done there.
That's the voice of John Landau. At that time, he was a rock and roll journalist. He was soon to become a major league record producer.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I've been told a great deal about him by Jerry Wexler, who produced many of those early sessions that Duane played on, and Phil Walden. And I was generally familiar with the scene. Almost all the Muscle Shoals R&B musicians are white, which is very surprising to most people when they find it out. But and the whole band was white at that time. And so I was sort of prepared. I mean, Duane had been described to me, but I was sort of prepared, because the first time I met him, it was really a shock. Duane was he had such a presence. I mean, he's the kind of person that, there could be 100 people in a room, and if Duane Allman walked into the room, everybody looked at him, not knowing who he is, not knowing anything about him, but he just, that was one of his great things as session man, is that he could relate what he did to whoever he was playing with.
Yeah, I was tremendously impressed. No, I didn't think that we had upon that first hearing, I didn't think that we had a star on our hands. I thought we had a very talented musician. And I began to use Duane Allman as a sideman on sessions with a lot of different artists.
Pretty soon, Duane Allman's fame spread as a studio wizard. They were coming from all over America to play with Duane Allman in Muscle Shoals. One who did was bluesman John Hammond, who explains the culture shock of coming from New York to the outback of Alabama in the late 60s.
I arrived down there. I was met at the airport by Marlon Green and Jimmy Johnson, who was like one of the owners of the studio. Really nice cats, and we got into the studio the next day, and I was expecting all the players to be black, and they were all white guys, and they all looked like sort of redneck white guys at that, and they looked at me. They thought I was going to be black, and so they looked at me and they sort of scratched their heads, and oh God, I said, here we go again. And I was starting to feel really depressed, and I couldn't communicate. I'd play a song for them. I don't read or write music, so I wasn't able to notate it or whatever. And the next morning, we had started the session, and there was a coffee break, and we went outside, and up drives this old, it was like an abandoned milk truck. And out comes this guy with like long red hair and a ponytail down his back, wearing a gray t-shirt that said City Slickers on it. And he had like sideburns, big mutton chops that crossed into his mustache. And he comes up and he says, "Where's this John Hammond guy? I want to meet this John Hammond guy so bad. Boy, this guy, he's somebody I really admire, And all these guys, look at Duane, and I mean, they idolized Duane. I mean, Duane was the man. He was the inspiration down there. And they started to look at me like in a different way. Like, do you want to meet this guy? And so Duane walks right up to me and he says, "Hi, I'm Duane Allman, and I've been dying to meet you, and I've heard a lot of your records, and I really like your stuff, and I'm really proud to meet you." And was just, I didn't know him, I mean, it had been told to me, about an hour later that he was the guy that played on Aretha Franklin's stuff. And so all of a sudden, all these guys, they idolized Duane. I couldn't fathom where it was going to go from there. And Duane said, "Gee, I'd be really honored to play on this album of yours." And so I said, well, here's some tunes that we've been trying to do. And he says, oh, yeah, that's a Howling Wolf number. Yeah, I know this one. And like, so he told this guy, no, play it like this and play it like that. And he could communicate with these guys. And all of a sudden, you know, everybody understood what I meant, you know. So we got, you know, so the last 2 days, Duane played on, I guess, about 4 cuts. And they were just dynamite and everything.
20 years gone, Duane Allman. We're thinking about him tonight on Classic Rock 99. Stay tuned.
And this was Duane Allman. He was very versatile. In addition to playing bottleneck slide guitar, you know, the Delta style, he played very good T-Bone Walker Texas type blues when he wanted to. But he could also play bossa nova. He could play jazz. And he was a very good rock guitarist.
And you could tell, you know, the other thing is that you could tell right from the first second you met him that he wasn't going to stay in Muscle Shoals, Alabama, that that's just going to be too confining for a person with this kind of energy, this kind of, you know, drive. I mean, the idea of him remaining as a session musician, I think at that point, when I met him, it was pretty evident that he no longer, you know, he wasn't planning to do that. The band wasn't planning on it. He was just taking it session by session.
Jerry Wexler and John Landau again. It was evident by 1969 that Duane Allman was playing more sessions but having less fun. As he told an interviewer,
oh man, studios, that's a terrible thing, man. You just lay around and you get your money, man. All those studio cats that I know, man, like they all got, one of them gets a color TV, see, and then the next day, man, they're all down to Sears or, you know, wherever, and hey man, I'd like to look at some color TVs, you know. And so like this one place I know, man, they do sessions. All these cats, 5 cats at one time had Oldsmobile 442s, you know, man. All red and black. Yeah, one of them traded on a Toronado, see, and so all of them traded on a Toronado, and now one of them's got a Toronado and a Corvette, and now they're all looking at new vets. Man, it's just, you know, it's sickening, man. They're just keeping up with the Joneses. They're not playing any music. Their stuff sounds like crap now, man. I was down there working with them for about a half a year, and I got sick of it, man. Any sessions I do now, I go in there and do it and leave.
But before he left, Duane Allman would always astonish people with his guitar playing. He laid down this solo.
I drove over to Rick Hall's studio and walked in the studio, and there was this guy was sitting over with earphones on, walked over. He took the earphones off, stuck my hand out, introduced myself as Phil Walden, and he said, hi, I know who you are, I'm Duane Allman. And I said, let's have lunch today. And he said, what you got on your mind? I said, well, I'm here to talk to you about the possibility of managing you. And he says, you got it. I said, well, wait a minute, yeah, I got it. I said, we need to talk about it. And he said, no. He says, okay, you got it. Tell me what you want me to do.
Duane Allman was with Rick Hall, was under contract to him, but nothing was happening too positive for either one of them. So I bought his contract from Rick Hall, even though he was had no immediate apparent prospect. What I bought was a sideman who played guitar and couldn't sing and write songs, right? So ostensibly, wasn't too good a move, except that I had Phil Walden in the picture. It was with Phil's encouragement that I did this, because we knew we were going to build a band around.
The initial idea was to try to do a band through Rick Hall, with Rick Hall producing, and the best thing that happened out of that situation was it in turn introduced me to Johnny Sandlin and Paul Hornsby, Barry Oakley. I did not know these guys, and of course Johnny became a major producer for us later on, and so did Paul Hornsby. But the records, I mean, Duane was not nearly as gifted a singer as he was a guitar player.